I'm really excited about this week's podcast. We have Tatiana, Nutritionist, in the house. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well. And we're going to tackle a really simple topic for people out there today along the lines of, can people really only absorb 30 grams of protein at once? Let's get in and rip in and have a chat about that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Body Science Podcast. As always, the information contained in this podcast is for the information purposes only and is not designed to diagnose or be prescriptive to treat, prevent, or manage any injury, disease, or other health-related condition.
Welcome to Body Science HQ, the world of fit, happy, and healthy. And we're going to throw protein chats on there. We're going to talk a few myths. We're going to talk a little bit about what is protein, why do you need it, how to use it, how to pick one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we can talk about. But one of the big things I hear people say all the time, you can only absorb, and that it's probably driven by the supplement industry. I don't know. We look at a traditional protein is anywhere from a 15 gram to probably a 30 gram, unless you're talking like a gainer.
Yeah.
Can we only absorb 30 grams of protein at once, Tatiana?
No, you can absorb a lot more than that.
So why aren't we smashing protein?
Because if you have too much as well, you end up not absorbing it properly. The whole idea with protein to make sure you're getting the most out of it is split between your meals. So I'm not saying you can only have 30, but having 30 every meal will make your diet throughout the day a lot better. You can definitely absorb more than 30 grams. It will depend on your metabolism, your weight, and all of that. But yeah, it's not straightforward.
So let's talk about a office worker, 75 kilos, slamming down a 30 gram protein drink. Where are we at with that? I know there's some guidelines. We're not talking guidelines. I'm talking like the science. Yeah.
In terms of, is he going to absorb the 30 grams?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And will help with hunger control, will help with muscle synthesis, it will help with a lot of different things. And it also brings calories as well. We need to remember that. Going back to basics, protein is a macronutrient. That means that every gram has 4 calories. So it is a source of energy as well. We need to remember that.
So what happens if we do, say I'm a 75 kilo office worker, female, let's make them female as well.
Yeah.
And I have 40 grams of protein.
You still absorb that.
Yeah.
If your body doesn't need it, it will get rid of it. So yeah, it will go to waste if your body doesn't need it, but 40 grams will definitely be needed. And your body needs it. Just as I said, energy source, then muscle synthesis. It needs it in so many different ways to produce hormones, produce enzymes. So your body needs protein in so many different aspects of your biochemistry that it will be used.
So what are the downfalls of somebody having too much protein, and how do we validate what is too much protein?
I think it goes down to how you're feeling as well. Of course, if you have 300 grams of protein in one meal, you might feel a little sick and it might come back up. So maybe not, but
there might be a few organs that didn't like that either.
Yeah, exactly. It comes down to how you're feeling as well. Like if you're feeling, a lot of people feel bloated if they have way too much protein as well. They don't, the digestive enzymes are just a bit different. So it's not as easily absorbed as carbohydrates, for example. So it takes a little bit longer for your body to break it down. So you might feel your stomach a little bit heavier as well. It comes down to the time you're eating it. You might not feel too comfortable eating too much protein for a workout, for example. So you have to remember that your body needs to break it down, absorb it, and that takes a little while, and see how it goes throughout your day and what you need it for as well.
Okay. So if I'm thinking, gee, I want to get fitter, I want to lose some weight, the typical things that roll across the desk every day when people are chatting while having a coffee, and everyone talks high protein, low carb, but that's a fairly standard thing and I know nutritionists, dietitians, that's a no, we don't talk high protein, low carb.
Yeah.
As the solution, because we don't, what do you want to say instead of me? We don't leave out food groups.
Yeah.
Why is protein important in that process?
Okay, so if we're talking about weight loss, protein, one of the reasons that protein is the macronutrient, so between carbs, fat, and protein. When I started studying, actually, we used to say that was fat because of the energy content in fat, but we found that protein is actually the one that will make you fuller for longer. So protein also has a higher thermic effect. That means that your body will use calories to break down protein. So if you're thinking of, it's about 20% of the calories you consume. So say you eat 100 grams of carbohydrates, for example, about 5% of that will be used to actually break down carbohydrate. With proteins, about 20%, which is massive. So that means that the energy you're consuming in terms of calories, you're actually burning it as well for your body to be able to absorb that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yeah. So that was one of the things. So it will make you fuller for longer, but it also makes your body work a little bit harder for your food.
Yep.
The other thing is protein synthesis and protein repair.
Do you want to explain to us what protein synthesis actually is? Because that's the godfather of everything we want, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you exercise, you will have micro damage on your muscle fibers, which is not a bad thing. So it's the normal, and you feel a little bit sore, and that's okay. From that little damage, they're really micro, when I'm like microscopic damage, your body will have sort of like a reaction to it, and will send protein there to repair that. When you do that, you usually grow more than what you had before. It's sort of like, think of like a broken table, and you patch it up and it's a little bit bigger. So that's why we always talk about muscle synthesis, repair, and muscle growth, because they all work together, and that will depend on your calorie intake. Your type of training is very important as well. But that's why we're always talking about synthesis. So synthesis is formation. When we talk about synthesis, we're talking about putting amino acids together to make it into protein, to make it into the muscle.
Yep.
That makes sense. So you need protein for that as well. You need amino acids available in your blood system to be sent to do the repair of the muscles. And the other thing is energy as well. So you're consuming energy through your protein, and it's very important for your diet. So in terms of weight loss, protein has gained such a massive attention, and carbohydrate fell through because everyone thinks of carbohydrate in forming fat, or we can get into that. But protein is being the lifesaver of everyone trying to lose weight, because it provides energy, makes you full, but it also helps with muscle growth. So you're not losing muscle, because a lot of people have that fear of just really slimming down and losing muscle with it, which can happen if your calories are unbalanced and your training isn't balanced and really working together with your diet. But is just making sure that you're losing weight, but you're also either maintaining your muscle mass or increasing your muscle mass.
And that's the end goal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people actually have a lot of muscle mass, and all they need is to cut down a little bit of a few kilos of fat, and you look shredded, and it's not a lot of weight that you need to lose. A lot of people need to lose more weight, but then when they do, they're not as toned, and then that doesn't feel great either. So the idea is really, and the more muscle you have, the more energy your body will burn as well. I feel like I'm talking a lot. You're so quiet.
You are talking a lot. It's actually interesting.
So the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism will be. So that means that your body will be burning more fat, more energy and fat as well throughout the day, because it's using a lot of energy to maintain that muscle mass. So that's why when we talk about weight loss as well, you want to make sure you're not losing a lot of muscle, because you don't want to slow down your metabolism either.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about proteins, are they all created equal?
No. So we have the dairy proteins, which is being the leading sort of sports supplements. We now have a lot of good quality plant proteins as well. But they are created, they're different. It depends where they come in terms of milk and cheese production as well. But they're not all the same.
So from a basic perspective, our whey proteins are fast.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Whey protein is absorbed faster by your body.
So just absorption, that's the only difference? Do you get better protein synthesis? Is there other things we need to look at here?
No, it's not necessarily. No, the milk protein concentrate, yes, we found that is helps with protein synthesis a little bit better.
Because that's more like milk, isn't it?
Yeah, and it has the bonds with minerals as well. It's we call it the native form of the protein. So the whey protein and the casein protein, they come from the production of cheese. So when you start making cheese, you're going to get the milk, and you're going to put acids and the enzymes there to make it into cheese. Whey protein will be, so
it's the byproduct.
Yeah. So you're going to have that curd, which is like the coagulation of it. The water, the liquid that is left is going to be your whey protein. So from there, we dry it and we have the powder. The curd will be the casein protein. When you have whey is just doesn't coagulate. So it's absorption is a lot faster.
Okay, cool.
So your body still needs to break down the protein into amino acids to go into your blood system. We say that whey protein will last on your blood system in terms of amino acids about 90 minutes after you consume it. Whereas the casein protein, the same way that it does when we have the production of cheese, that it produces that curd, it will do the same once it hits your stomach and your stomach acids. So your body will take longer to break it down and absorb it. So we talk about having up to 5 to 6 hours of amino acids going through your body after you have casein protein.
Okay.
So that's why we talk about, like, straight after your workout, if you're looking at muscle recovery and you need something fast, you go whey protein. If you're looking at getting into a fast period, for example, when you go to bed, you look at casein, because then it's going to last longer in your system and it will help with muscle recovery and synthesis throughout the night.
Yeah, nice.
Hi, I'm Tom Green, Olympic champ from Tokyo, and if you want the best tasting protein bars on the market, you should try the new Body Science Mousse range. Greg, you better be testing these.
Mate, they're getting drug tested, got you covered. So you've mentioned that we eat protein or we drink protein and it turns into amino acids.
Yeah.
Where does all that happen? What does that mean?
Okay, so protein, so you have lots of amino acids together and they will form proteins. And then from proteins, you have bigger proteins like our muscles, for example. Amino acids, so the proteins will start being broken down on your stomach and they will be absorbed in your intestine. So,
and absorption is where it's all at. Like, that's the important part of this process. So if you've got a sick stomach or you don't have a healthy diet.
Yeah. So you're absolutely, and we have a lot of issues with people who have, for example, any gut issues, severe gut issues, or had surgeries. Sometimes we need to supplement them in a different way, because if you're not getting absorption properly through your guts, you're not absorbing it at all. So it's the whole digestive system, and that goes for all vitamins and minerals and everything, and especially protein, needs to be healthy for you to be absorbing that. Otherwise, it's just going to come out on the other side.
Yeah, and not in a nice way either.
Yeah.
So we often use digestive enzymes in proteins.
Yeah.
And that's because there were some pretty nasty proteins rolling around for a while and people couldn't tell the difference between a good and a bad one.
Yeah.
So, or brands like us, we just put good digestive enzymes in there to make sure nobody has any issues.
Yeah.
And I don't get a lot of reported issues from our proteins, to be really honest. But where's everything happening there? So I'm consuming, and we use Digizyme, that's my favourite.
Yeah.
So you're consuming Digizyme. Where and when is that digestive enzyme actually doing what it's meant to?
In your stomach as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So it will just make it easier on your stomach. If you think of how we used to take protein 15 years ago, you take protein, you have to sit down for at least half an hour. And I think that is the difference. And I always tell my patients as well, and athletes, that straight after your workout, for example, your body will struggle a little bit. If you have like a protein like 5 minutes after the workout and you're still hot and sweating, because of your body temperature, your stomach won't be able to digest it as well. So yeah, I think that's the difference. Is
you mean quickly, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just told us before it will digest any amount of protein.
Sorry?
So you just said after training, if you're still hot and you drink a protein, you're going to have a bit of trouble digesting your protein.
Yeah.
So, but we spoke earlier to say that you will digest all your protein. Are you talking about you won't get the fast benefit of the digestion? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So what I mean is that you're not going to digest it as well, as in it's going to sit in your stomach. Your stomach's not going to send it anywhere until
you're not going to get optimal
down.
recovery. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying it will eventually, but you might feel sick.
So you feel sick. Okay.
Yeah. It just sits in your stomach. Your stomach, your blood flow will be going into your muscles, and your stomach is not important at that point because you're just exercising. Your blood flow is going, it's going to other parts of your body. So it's just going to sit in your stomach until your stomach is ready to start doing that work.
Okay.
The digestive enzymes will come in ready to go. So they come with the protein already, and then they start that digestive process. Yeah.
Okay. Do they help with protein synthesis?
Yeah, they do. Or the breaking down of the protein is just better done.
Speeds up that process?
Yeah. It will make sure it's broken down properly.
Yeah.
Because if your stomach's not working well, or depending on what you ate before, sometimes your stomach doesn't do a great job of breaking down the protein to release the amino acid. Making sure you're having the digestive enzymes would it just makes that process easier, and we're making sure that all the protein we're consuming is actually getting broken down properly.
Yeah, nice. So from a perspective of somebody who deals with a lot of athletes, and you deal with a lot of of athletes here at Body Science. Why does everyone come in here and talk protein first?
I think protein, one, is expensive, so you can't walk around with little pieces of steak throughout the day. So it's something that everyone has always been really conscious of. It's something expensive and I need to make sure I get it. And then secondly, we found through studies, because protein powders and protein with exercise, apart from creatine, is one of the best studied supplements in the market. We found that you actually need to split it throughout the day. So if you didn't eat protein all day and then you have a massive steak at night, it's not going to work as well. So the athletes are very conscious that you need to have good portions of protein throughout the day. Again, you can't walk around with your steak in the bag, so it's hard to get it. So they're always trying to find ways of being able to have at least 20 to 30 grams of protein throughout the day. And that's when the protein powders can be really helpful, because it's easier, it's tasty, it's just easier to make it, that process, a little bit,
If you can't eat it, drink it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of and you work in product development here at Body Science. So there's a lot of new concepts coming to the market from a lot of Australian sports nutrition companies in relation to how to consume your protein. As somebody who, I mean, you work here, so you work in that process with me, but from your true clinical days and what you do in that other space that you play in, what do you think about companies like us doing all this type of thing where we're making protein convenient?
It's great. So it's just become, and I mean, we have to look at a lot of, we don't want to put pressure on anyone to live off protein and spend more money than they used to. But if you have the money and the means, it makes your life so much easier. Instead of having to get different grains with your yogurt and you just pop a scoop of protein powder there and it makes it a lot easier. So it's been helping athletes and everyday people in many ways. It's just easy, and I think everyone is just so much more conscious of the importance of protein as well. So I think it's a great market. I know from being in here now, because I worked on the other side, how much work we do to make sure, as we said, digestive enzymes, probiotics, prebiotics, to make sure people are not just having that protein powder anymore, but is more a wellness thing. And it's really well incorporated with what we're trying to do in the market, really. So it's helping a lot of people.
That's awesome. Hey, Tatiana, thanks for coming in today. It was awesome to do a little quick podcast on protein. We get asked a lot, why do I need protein? What is protein? What does protein do? How does protein work? And all that. I think you nailed it.
Yep, sounds good. So I think just to close, whey protein's quick, casein protein's a bit slower. If you're looking at losing weight, especially in controlling hunger, try the mix of the two. So you're making sure you're getting muscle recovery, but you're also having hunger control.
Satiety, yep.
Yeah, but if you're an elite athlete and you're just looking at something really quickly to make sure you're recovering muscles, whey protein is the way to go as well. So,
and if I'm an athlete, vegan protein does its thing?
It does. And our proteins, our vegan protein is actually complete amino acid profile, because that's the problem with plant protein sometimes. So you've got a full protein there, low carb as well, also gluten-free. It's everything that we have good, and we've always had it in our proteins. We got it with our clean protein as well.
And I love the fact that I think there's 10 proteins in our plant protein.
Yeah.
And the reason we did that, if I can, can I be in charge for a sec?
Yeah.
The reason we did that is when you look at plant proteins, they are sometimes really tough on the gut in a different way to a whey. For somebody, like if I was to smash some certain, like a pea protein, for example, I would blow up like a trumpet. You know what I mean? So what we did is we went and we mixed it with 10 different proteins to take that distress off the gut, makes for a smoother, nicer.
Yeah. And the other thing as well that we're looking at is that so the plant proteins are never complete proteins because they don't have all the amino acids. Yep. With the mix of the different proteins, we managed to get all the amino acids.
And that's really important.
Yeah. And we got a lot of really sustainable protein sources. We got the fava
Here's where
bean.
you come in. This is your part.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I think we did a really good job with this one, but it's just making sure that it's not just soy or just pea. We got fava bean.
There's no
we
soy
got
actually in
sunflower.
there.
There's not soy. We got organic pea. We got organic brown rice as well, but we got fava bean.
Chia.
We got sunflower, chia,
lots of different types.
Yeah, so we got 10 different types. So, but the most important thing is that amino acid acid profile that is complete as well. And we got prebiotics
Well,
as
this is where I'm going to say you're wrong. The most important thing is taste.
yeah, we got, but that's easy. That's
And you know
easy
what?
for us. at the
Finally,
moment.
plant proteins taste good. I mean,
Yeah.
you can weigh them up against a whey protein these days.
And what I'm having a lot is a lot of people asking for their kids because the kids are growing up and becoming really good athletes
This
so
is
quickly.
not the body science staff member talking now. This is now the qualified clinical nutritionist talking.
A lot of people ask me for kids what protein they can take, and the clean protein is just our clean protein is just a really easy and it's not scary for the kids because it's super clean. It's made out of natural ingredients. It's not that our other ones aren't, but it's just for the kids they're loving it.
You love plant, like you're a plant person. So.
Yeah. No, but it's for the kids. It's just amazing because they digest it well. They just put banana peanut butter and they love it all day.
Yeah.
Healthy milkshake for them.
So if you're a parent out there wanting to give your child protein, talk to a health professional first.
Yes.
That's and if you want to introduce young athletes, and we're talking not young athletes, we're talking athletes that can really drive into proteins and that, don't be afraid to contact the office and chat with Tatiana.
Yeah.
We do a lot of that in this space.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on again. That was really fun. Any new stuff coming?
We got the moose bars.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So we had a podcast on the moose, and now we've got the moose bars out. Moose bars are a dessert.
They're very different, aren't they?
They're still low carb and still really high protein. Actually, it was hard to get the protein up, but they're absolutely delicious.
We actually dodged collagen there.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've said we're finishing. We're still going to go. So my understanding of collagen is, and I'm all about the bioactive peptides we use, which have a specific use.
Yeah.
So collagen itself isn't the best protein source in the world
No.
if you're using it for protein in your macros. But from a perspective of what collagen can do, it's epic. To work with joints or tendons, ligaments, and that type of thing. So when we're looking at our protein intake for the day, we have to look at everything protein.
Yeah. And the way the laws work in Australia, so I'm going to get a bit technical, but when you look at, even when you have your amino acids, they are counted as protein on your label as well because they are.
So if you're having 3 grams of creatine and that type of thing, just take it all into account.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, the bars are just delicious. And again, is what we were saying before. It's a dessert, but you're still getting 17 grams of protein with a delicious piece of chocolate, really. And we got chocolate, cookies and cream.
How's the biscuit base in them? It's
so good.
So good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like it before. They are, I'm told they're the first time they've ever been made. So
yeah.
Game on.
They're really good. So again, we're just trying to bring protein into people's lives.
Yeah, wow, there you go. And convenience and happiness.
Yeah, and that's it. I think I remember when I was a young swimmer, when I was about 14, the first protein bars. 14 was 16 years ago?
Oh yeah.
My God. I would chew that thing for so long.
I've got it. I've been doing sups for 23 years now. I've got this scar on the inside of my mouth when we were first getting protein bars back in 2003, I think it was.
Yeah.
I remember we're trialling, I don't know if you can call them protein bars back then, they were just wads of whatever. And I've got this thing where I had this protein bar and I was being a smart guy, this thing won't break. And then it broke and I just tore the absolute inside of my mouth, my teeth, because this thing it was horrendous. Just leveraging it. It was, And these days you can put your front teeth on a bar and sink through. The technology's so much better these days.
Yeah. So lucky us. We're still not too old to have protein bars.
Well, exactly. Exactly. So everybody out there, stay fit, stay happy and stay healthy. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Tatiana.
Thank you.